Hi, everyone. This is Jason Rodriguez with Zpryme. Today, I'm joined by Karl Popham from Austin Energy. Again, Karl, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jason. Nice to see the trademark headphones are back on air. I noticed a few of them that they were missed by me, so I'm glad for this chat. We can see the retro hashtag tiny headphones.
Yeah. I had to make they wanted to make a special appearance. They heard you were back, so they wanted to say hello. So
I
here we go.
appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, I'll kind of dive right into some of the key things happening. Word out that Tesla may be coming into Austin, and just want to pick your brain a little bit on what you think that would mean, not just for Austin, but for Texas.
So Tesla already has a great presence in Austin. Sells more EVs in Austin by far than any other manufacturer. Has a showroom, so they have facilities, but them opening up a manufacturing plant. And the latest rumor I heard is it would be manufacturing specifically the Cybertruck and SUV. And I think that's especially smart because there's such a lucrative Texas market. And by being built, Texas tough, I think it would help you ramp up your penetration or adoption in the Texas truck market. Kind of what Toyota did with their manufacturing of their truck, their whole Texas tough Toyota truck. And it really helped break into the market by being manufactured, built, and made in Texas. So I do encourage that move. And then for Austin, it'd just be cool. It's Austin has a very good, labor force, a diverse labor force. I think it would be very well received. And personally, I like the idea of just, taking um, an Uber over to pick up my new Cybertruck as it rolls off. I know the Cybertruck seems a little divisive. People either love it or hate it. I love it. I want one. Vehicles are emotional buy, and what icing would that be if that assembly was made and especially by new someone and it rolled off on Austin floor? Yeah. But that was first announced specifically Austin, but you're already hearing about Oklahoma City, you're hearing about El Paso courting. So any kind of significant job producing manufacturing facility, and these are great jobs, and it's a wide diversity of jobs from working on the floor versus the high tech equipment involved versus, so it really does bring in I think Austin's kind of well positioned to be very successful community for that. We also have good cost of living. We do have a very healthy and positive business environment from a policy perspective, both from the state and local level. So I think it checks off a lot of boxes. And yeah, I'm pumped, but I'm pessimistically optimistic. We'll see. We've seen tweets before. We've been in a short running for an actual battery manufacturing that didn't end up coming to Texas, but we'll see.
Kind of bounce off a little bit of your last conversation in terms you talked about the DC fast charging rollout, and I've seen some news come out there. Could you maybe talk about that expansion, and then if there's any other rollouts you and your team have planned for 2020?
Yeah, so we're getting really close to our 1,000th charging port, roughly 250 locations in the Plug-in Everywhere network. So specifically to DC Fast, very excited. So in the last 30 or so days, if you've been driving around Austin, you can see up to 5 new DC Fast charging hubs installed. Some of them are already energized. A few others are, within weeks will be energized. So you'll start seeing them come in the app as well as our online tools. And what this does is really takes us into a fleet of DC Fast. We also had collaboration with the state of Texas, specifically the TCQ grant. So they helped bring in funding for that as well. And we met, our timelines and deliverables along with that by them being deployed this month. So what we wanted to do is to complement the existing fleet of level 2 is have a DC Fast that ideally support people who have really no other option that they need it. We still encourage people to charge at home. That's the best charging. It's the most affordable. Nighttime charging leverages the most renewable here in the state of Texas because we're such a wind producing state. So you have extra load. So at the end of the day, it's all about charging at home. And 85% of all charging is done at home. So this is just, well, how do we supplement? So how do we supplement with these 1,000 charging ports, or maybe 1,000 is workplace in a way. And now with DC Fast, if you don't have an opportunity like a workplace where your car is going to sit there naturally for a few hours, what does it take for 20 minutes? So the sites include one I'm personally very excited about. So if you recall at an ETS, maybe it was 5 years ago at an Energy Thought Summit, we launched Electric Drive. We did it the Monday of the launch event of ETS, had close to 300 people show up, really nice event. And what Electric Drive is a sustainable mobility showcase. So solar powered kiosk, there was a DC Fast level 2, a lot of shared mobility services. So now we're in Electric Drive 2.0, which is we added a lot more DC Fast. Now we have 4 DC Fast stations, and those are installed and deployed, and it looks great. We also put a DC Fast next to the Austin High School by the hike and bike trail. So one, I just love the location, but two, those fast stations are incorporated into our EVs for Schools program, which y'all have helped us as well. But that is a curriculum for the viewer. I'm gonna say viewer out there. That helps with the curriculum of EVs for Schools, which we've already launched in a lot of schools and online training, and using mostly level 2 charging as a scientific-based testing tool for some of the hypothesis of the kids as part of the curriculum. But now we have DC Fast charging at Austin High, or in the vicinity right next to Austin High. So that will be incorporated into their EVs for Schools program. But yeah, 5 new hubs just launched in the last 30 days. We continue to grow the level 2 network. We also have a few onesies and twosies. It's not a 4-station hub, but we have 2 at the airport that have just been installed, getting ready to go live. What they call is, it's also a gas station. So we're testing that model as having DC Fast next to gas pumps. It's also a place that's referred to as the cell phone lot. If you're waiting to pick someone up, you might wait 15 or 20 minutes there. How perfect. If you're waiting 15 or 20 minutes there and you're in your EV, why not top it off? And so we really try to be thoughtful about where these locations went and how they're servicing the customer experience. But I'm very excited.
Excellent. Another project that I know you guys have been very involved with and also won several awards with, and that's the Shines project. And I know that's either complete or coming to a completion. Can you maybe talk about the significance of the project and what were some of the key accomplishments there?
We ended up looking at 19 value propositions on energy storage, and we tested 6 of those. Out of those 6 we tested, the most value was demand charge reductions for customers. So that's a commercial system. And so if you're looking at a strategy to squeeze the most value, that should be that should be part of it. But we also looked at some of the market values. So there's a lot of talk, buy high, sell low, all those kind of things. So what that means to us is a peak load reduction. So there's a way for utility to lower their congestion charges. There's day ahead energy arbitrage, which is the buy low, sell high, day ahead. And then there's real-time dispatch, which is buy low, sell high, the day of. So we looked at those 3 market conditions, and then we just looked at some increasing the quality in the distribution network, specifically congestion management and voltage support. So those are the ones we actually tested. So demand charge reduction, a lot of opportunity there. We also see a significant opportunity in congestion pricing with one major caveat. And the major caveat is this: in Texas, if you're going to register a storage asset more than 1 megawatt, it gets metered. And then when you get calculated your congestion charges, they tabulate that metering of the 1 megawatt system and deduct it from the savings you did on reducing grid. So there's a disincentive or no incentive for the most attractive reason for a utility to do storage is what's called the 4CP market. You can't participate in the 4CP market due to a policy decision. So as long as you keep your assets under 1 megawatt, that's how you get around it. But once you start getting up to scale and 1 megawatt or greater, there's a policy barrier. I talked to my colleagues over at ERCOT, as unintended whatnot. They say it's kind of as intended. Both the generators and the wires company, they both hate it, so they think they got it about right. There's more pressures on just, we're our own little grid. It's kind of tough to make it as a generator as well. Was this one more thing to kind of beat up the, encouraging, potentially more generation? So it's really a holistic approach. They look at the proper incentives or policy. So we'll see if that changes over time. But and that's part of what Shines is deploy the assets and really dig down and see, well, what are the barriers, whether it's a policy barrier or technical barrier. Standards was very important for us. We're still seeing resistance by different organizations' standards. When we launched, we had some specific standards in mind. The SunSpec, Mesa for the battery, a few other standards. We even changed out some of our partners at first who weren't being compliant. So it meant a lot to us, but we're finding some of the backend systems and software, they're not being compliant or playing as nice as we think they could to get the most value. You need systems to holistically work together. You don't want 5 different silos all producing their value independently. So I would say a continued commitment to open standards is important to us. And then I'd say, let's just close on a third one that's is safety. So we actually shut down some of our grid assets in around 2019 and extended the project for evaluation because there were some fires both in the US and in South Korea. And so we looked at the chemistry, and even though we didn't have the exact same batteries, we could have had potential chemistry in those systems. And I think the issue of safety is still an ongoing thing. And so, for example, in commercial systems, one thing Austin didn't have, we didn't have guides or codes to support how you can put storage in a commercial system. And so Shines, as one of the deliverables that wasn't required in the grant, ended up doing that for the city of Austin. So thanks to Shines, if you want to put storage in your commercial, you now have the city codes already designed of how to do it. And it was a journey. Our fire departments and other safety first, they kind of looked at the 2 different sides of the coin, if you will. You had New York saying we don't want any energy storage anywhere. You had California saying, yeah, let's put as much energy storage as possible. I think we ended up somewhere in between. So here in Texas, you have to look at cooling systems, humidity systems, fire suppression systems. All our commercial storage is in air conditioned and behind firewalls. So if something bad does happen, you have a certain rated, hour and a half. It can just keep burning. It won't even break through the firewall. So there's a lot of ways, I think, to minimize the chance of an event and then minimize the impact. And so that's how we incorporated it in ours. But it just was very important to us. And that's why we did want to kind of take a little pause in the middle of the grant to do another round of safety mitigation and more reviews of our policies there, and they've been tweaked accordingly.